Colours and Forgiveness, Episode 1. She woke up slowly. First the sounds of a car outside beeping, then a bird singing in the big sycamore over the road. Then came the voices of two cyclists, their voices carrying further than the swish of tyre on tarmac. But as they passed her window she could hear that too. She groaned and rolled over in her warm bed. The duvet resettled itself with irritation as the alarm on her phone went off. Blah, 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 she echoed ungraciously. Throwing back the soft bed covers, she lay for a moment, staring up at the ceiling. The cold morning air on her unwrapped body made her shiver, but she was mesmerised by the colours on the ceiling above. Pinks and violets, greens and sky blues. They swirled and unformed, reformed, became a blob and then a streak. Was she still asleep? She pinched her right arm. Ow, no, she was awake. Was she going mad? She thought quietly about this for a moment. Well, that was perhaps a longer question, she thought, but the colours were there. If she closed her eyes and opened them, they were still there. Thomas? The colours were deepening now. She was fascinated, but she felt the prickle in her neck of fear. She preferred things to make sense. Like Thomas, she slid slowly out of bed, keeping her eyes on the colours. They stayed in the same place on the ceiling, but as she stood upright, they floated gently down towards her head. She screamed. Running to the bathroom, she held her breath and looked in the mirror. Oh God, the colour cloud was hovering over her head and round the sides of her body. In fact, leaning forwards, she could see it outlined her whole being. It was terrifying. It didn't hurt. She felt just the same, but it was beyond her comprehension, and she'd had enough. She walked slowly to the door of the bathroom, and then ran as fast as she could down the narrow landing corridor, heart racing, legs pumping. She jumped down the stairs 2 at a time. She ran outside and threw out her arms. "Get off!" she shouted. "Get off! Get off!" She looked at her arm. The pale shimmer of yellow slid quickly out of view. She spun round and caught the whole colour cloud bunched up together, as vibrant and multicoloured as when it first fully appeared. It had the shape of her outline still, a creepy, body-sized halo of colour. Fear was being replaced by anger. She felt the flood of heat rise up inside her before she shouted, "Go away!" The cloud shimmered, thinned out into a pale horizon of ribbon, and then returned, floating up above her head and not budging. At that moment, Thomas appeared. "Who are you shouting at?" he said. Lucy pointed up. "Look," she said. Thomas followed her finger. "What?" he said. "Can't you see it?" "What?" Lucy snorted with frustration. "Thomas, can't you see the colours?" she said. "The what?" "The colours," she shouted, and to her horror began to cry. "Lucy, what on earth's the matter with you this morning?" he said, rushing down the garden. He gave her a big hug. "Thomas, I think I'm going mad," she said, sniffling. "Come on, I got us some croissants from Albert's," he said. "Let's go and eat them while they're still warm." Lucy tried to feel okay, but she glanced up as she followed him, and her stomach felt like lead. Walking up with Thomas to the brightness of their kitchen, above her swam the throng of colours. She took a big breath and walked inside. To be continued.